How is it that this game, Palworld, changed the gaming landscape forever? Every once in a while, there comes a pivotal moment that redefines and changes the trajectory of where things are headed. In gaming, as you guys may already know, if you've been playing for a while, these pivotal moments have been very well defined. For example, when Halo came out, it changed the FPS genre. When Fortnite came out, it changed the Battle Royale genre. And just recently, with the great success of Elden Ring, it changed the trajectory there. But even with those great games, guys, we were still having issues as a community and games that were being developed that were not feeding the need. And thankfully, guys, we got a hit out of nowhere. Palworld came and hit the gaming world by storm, and not only did it hit it by storm, but it changed the minds, it changed the perspective, and it changed the way people and companies are going to start approaching games. And one of the greatest things that could happen was that there was another game that came into fruition just a little bit after Palworld called Helldivers that reinforced one particular issue that has been plaguing gaming for a while. And that is, give the gamers what they want and they will play the game. If you make the game fun, exciting, enjoyable, it doesn't really matter what you're playing as long as people are having fun. And that is one of the things that has been sucked away from gaming, where companies are more focused on an agenda, more focused on monetization, as opposed to focusing on one and most important thing, which is the reason people play games, is to have fun. So we're going to take a look at these two games and talk about two major things that they did right and how this will basically save gaming, because moving forward, companies are going to look at this and say, if Palworld could do it, if Helldivers could do it, why can't we do it into a grander scale? We have more money, we have more resources, as opposed to these two developers, and we could make something great. And that's why I personally feel the best thing that could happen in gaming was definitely Palworld and Helldivers. So let's start off with the first thing, price point, guys. Both of these games launched at a very interesting price point. Granted, one is an early access game, which is Palworld, and granted, Helldivers is a live service game as well, but both of them launched at a very reasonable price. And to put it in perspective, you could purchase Palworld for $29.99, Helldivers for $39.99, coming to a cost of $70, where Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is $69.99 and Skull and Bones is $69.99. Granted, Suicide Squad is a AAA game and Skull and Bones being a 4A game. So you tell me, you can literally buy two of the best 2024 games currently right now for the price of Suicide Squad or the price of Skull and Bones and get two of the best games. You tell me, where do we stand? Remember, prior to Palworld coming out and prior to Helldivers coming out, the industry, the gaming industry, was talking about that games were too cheap. They wanted to increase the price from $70, which for some people, this is still quite a lot. I kind of want to know from you guys in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about that price point? They wanted to raise this to 100. They said if a game is played for more than 40 hours, the ROI is not $70. It should be $100. Think about that, guys. Let that sink in. They want to raise the price of gaming, of video games, to $100. And that is one of the reasons why I feel like Palworld and Helldivers actually saved us from going down a very slippery slope. You know what they say, guys, numbers don't lie, people do. If you guys were looking forward to 2024, I'm pretty sure that at least 80% of you guys did not have Palworlds and did not have Helldivers on your top favorite games or games that you must play. But I can 100% tell you guys that a lot of you guys have actually played these games. Because if we look at the Steam charts, guys, these two games are on top of the list. And the reason they're on top of the list is because of the simple fact that they are giving people what they want. They're giving people fun. And the thing here is that no longer can AAA companies say otherwise. That is what's the beauty about the success of these two games. No longer can companies say microtransactions don't work, live service games don't work, because Helldivers has microtransactions, it's a live service game, and it's actually working. It's a working formula. And the reason it's working is because the priority of the game when it was created wasn't microtransactions, wasn't the live service aspect of the game. It was actually making a game that it was fun. Theoretically, guys, Halo was actually sitting on Helldivers. If you think ODST, that's literally what Helldivers is. Another great example, guys, is Palworld. And it's pretty crazy because you would think Palworld would not be a really good game. You would think about that, because if you think of all the stuff that you could do in the game, you would see how a lot of people would say that game would not be a good game to make, especially if you're a Western company that's making this game. So what can you do in Palworld? Well, you could literally cook pals, you could shoot pals, you could capture humans, you can make humans work, you can make pals work. There's so many things you could do in Palworld that I'm pretty sure a lot of Western game developers would have said, no, we cannot make that game. And you know, the reason Palworld exists is because it wasn't made from a Western company, and it actually focused on one main thing. You know what it focused on? On making a game that was fun. You know, literally, even the developer said, you know, should we add guns to this game? And one of the developers said, of course, let's add guns, because people in the Western sphere like guns. Why shouldn't we add guns? So it's kind of interesting to see what the different mindset has been when creating games as opposed to the current games that we have. Another great example is a game that hasn't been released yet, but it seems like they have the same mentality of the developers from Palworld. Is let's make the game fun, which is Stellar Blade. I'm pretty sure Stellar Blade's gonna sell really well, and they have the same idea. Let's make a game that's fun and that people want to play. Now, if we take an example of a game that did the opposite and spent a ton of money, had 7 years in development, had a massive amount of people actually, you know, working on that game, but due to certain criterias, due to certain agendas, has done very poorly. And I hate to say it, but Suicide Squad was definitely one of those games that I was looking forward to actually playing. It was on my must-play list. And have I played the game? Yes. Is the game bad? No. But the problem is that the game is so heavily focused on an agenda. The game is so heavily focused on the microtransactions. The game is so heavily focused on the live service aspect of the game that the fun aspect gets sucked out. And what happens is people are so focused on all the wrong things that the game made that they can't focus on the fun aspect of the game. And this is the reason why I am extremely happy, and why you should be extremely happy, excited for the release of Palworld, for the release of Helldivers, and I'm pretty sure Stellar Blade's gonna do really well as well, that these type of games have redefined the path that we were heading in gaming. I expect a lot more indie developers coming out and making more games that are going to be more fun focused. I expect the cost of gaming to kind of go down, because they're seeing that this $40 price point is actually working, that more people are incentivized on purchasing a fully $40 game, and will get more support due to the fact that not only is it cheaper, but the game is actually fun, as opposed to paying for a $100 game that the developer has not put fun first and has put other priorities in their list. I am pretty sure if Helldivers, Palworld were to come out with some sort of battle pass or some sort, people would support it. You know why? Because the game is fun. The same thing that happened in Fortnite, where people supported the battle pass because the game was fun when it first came out, is the same reason why I feel these two games have redefined the genre, and we could see more games like this coming out in the future. And I think the way gaming was headed was in the wrong direction, but I am extremely excited to see what the future has for indie developers and what the future holds for AAA games, with the massive amount of money that they have on creating more fun games as opposed to games that are filling a specific narrative. Like they say, not all heroes wear capes, but this time around, Palworld and Helldivers revolutionized the gaming industry forever.